Welcome to the STARS program, seniors taking active roles in society. And now, here's your host, ANITA FINLEY.
You've heard him many, many times again, over and over, and I certainly hope you go to his seminars. This is the one and only Joe KARP. Good morning, Joe.
Good morning. How are you today?
Fine. So you followed our Elvis guy, which is great.
Love me tender.
Yeah, I love you tender. Oh, well, it's easy to love you in any way because you're so kind and so smart. So you must be having a lot of fun because you're doing so well, and I know you have so many great clients. I think that's when you look over it. If you took the time and you just sat there over coffee and made a list of all the clients that you have, you could probably do it by heart, too, because you know them so intimately.
The funny thing is I know many of them intimately, but the thing I'm terrible at is names. So I know their stories.
Okay.
That's true. I had a couple come in yesterday, not yesterday, day before yesterday. I had not seen them in 4 years. And they sat down, and I did not know they were coming because I just have who's coming, and I prepare when they show up because I don't know if they're coming in with a designed purpose, or they're coming in because we offer our clients the opportunity to review their estate plan every 3 years at no charge. Now, if they're going to change things, they'll change it, but I want to make sure they understand it and know what's going on. And they sat down, and I instantly recognized them. And I said, "Oh, you're the ones who aren't going to let your kids have any of the principal of their trust till they're 65. They can only have the income." And they looked at me in disbelief, and I said, "Well, that's sort of unique. I sort of remember stuff like that, just like I remember if somebody's child is done something interesting or terrible and where they have an interesting story." I mean, because you hear lots of interesting stories. One of my clients' sons, by example, as I just think of it, was the one who came up with the area code for Cape Canaveral for the phone company.
Really?
You know the area code for Cape
Canaveral?
No,
that was my next question.
Well, what would be the best area code for Cape Canaveral? What 3 numbers do you associate with Cape Canaveral?
Oh, so 321?
Bingo.
Well, that was Richard, our board operator, who said that.
He came up with 321, or they lied to me, and it's a great story. But so I just remember their stories. But I know who they are, and where I don't know, we keep good notes so that we can remember, so we can put things in context. And it really is the fun part of the job, is helping people and making sure they get properly taken care of and that they understand it. And I enjoy that. And it's funny, in my own personal life, I'm far more reclusive than I am with my clients. When I'm with my clients, I'm pretty open about who I am. I want them to be open about who they are, learn who they are so that we can help them do what they want to do. A lady came in yesterday to talk about potentially having to place her husband in a nursing home. And the first thing she did was, her husband wasn't with her. She took out a framed picture and she said, "I want to introduce you to my husband. This is the person I'm concerned about." And I thanked her. And I said, "The world tends to forget that we're talking about people when we're doing this." I said, "This is a good thing because I want to feel who he is. I don't want to talk about him like he's an object." And I said, "I really thank you for doing that." And I said, and I give her this advice that I will give to all your listeners. And I learned it from clients' children who did this for their father. I said, if you have to ultimately put your husband in a nursing home, you should have typed up, no more than one page, but less would be better, a little story about your husband. Make it easy enough for anybody want to read, and I'll make up the name. Say, this is Buddy. His real name is Lawrence, but everybody calls him Buddy. He likes popcorn and movies and tells puns and bad jokes. He was raised in Brooklyn, but would always be afraid to go on the cyclone in Coney Island because he didn't like heights. He loves dogs, and he hates cats, and he likes tuna fish, and he doesn't like rye bread because the seeds get stuck in his teeth.
I think you need to write a book. Something. I am loving this. I am loving this, Joe.
I said, you give them no more than one page, because if it's more than a page, they're not going to read it. And I said, one of them should be framed on his night table, so whoever the new night nurse is, and have it with his picture, this is Buddy. Personalize your husband, because when that person's in the nursing home, he is to the person there, and they don't mean to dehumanize him. He's an object. He's the being to be fed. And this is a person who has some serious cognitive impairment where they can't be themselves, or some of them attitudinally get a little angry or whatever. And I said, do the story. It's all about the people. And I said, this way, if he has to go into a nursing home, you're going to know that they know who your husband is, that he's not just this guy that they got to clean or give breakfast or take to. And if he's grumpy and grouchy, they'll know that he's a grandpa. It's important stuff.
I love this.
So the law is important, but taking care of the people is just so important.
I love this story. You need to tell this now to every one of your clients. I think people just listening, Joe, are going to do this just because you told them, because it's kind of fun to do this about someone whom they love, and maybe they're in a different situation today.
Absolutely. I mean, when Bill was sick, you were there with him.
Yes.
But they didn't know who he was.
That's right. Well, I told them.
He was too sick to be Bill.
Yeah.
He was too sick to be Bill.
True.
So it's very important to personalize it, and that's what we try to do in our practice, that we care about the people, and that really makes it fun. You know, and sometimes you're dealing with tragedy. You're dealing with Alzheimer's. You're dealing with Parkinson's. You're dealing with people who have become stubborn and nasty. You know, you're dealing with people who are dying. You're dealing with people who are scared of dying. You're dealing with families with trauma. But if you can personalize it and humanize it and understand who you're dealing with, it gives you great satisfaction every day.
You know, Joe, you already have, I know you're going to be going on a vacation, and so I have some of your columns ahead of time, but I would urge you to make this one of your columns.
It'll be a column.
Please. It's the most beautiful thing that we've talked about in a long time. It's not the business that we usually do, but it is absolutely fabulous.
Well, I'm glad to share that with you and the listeners. And by the way, for the listeners, you can do it if your loved one's in the hospital. They're under anesthesia. They're disoriented. They're uncomfortable. They're unhappy. Make them a person, not the grumpy old man that they appear to be that day in the hospital.
Perfect. It's perfect. I just love what you've said. I never told you this, but similar to what you just discussed, I felt that when I was going to nursing homes, and I thought that I would like to have everybody write up who that person was and put it in a frame and put it above their bed, so that when the staff would come in, and many people who didn't have even 1% of the experience and what these people did in their earlier lives, would appreciate them rather than this person lying in bed in their night clothes, half exposed. But the administration wouldn't let me do it. They said there's a Privacy Act and you can't do it. Isn't that interesting?
But the answer is the people can do it themselves.
No, I know that. Right, exactly.
And the people can put it, and I say
Right.
give them one on the chart, give it to them, attach it to the chart,
Right.
but leave one in the room in a place that'll be secure so that the people know who they're dealing
Right,
with.
I agree.
It's important, and that's what our practice tries to do. We try to help people deal with the potential legal issues that they face as a result of the aging process, sickness, dying, disability. But we try to give them some peace of mind and the kind of respect and dignity that everybody deserves, and have their wishes respected. One of the things people don't understand about estate planning is because I consider estate planning a two-pronged process. Planning for what happens if you're disabled and planning for what should happen when you die. And for all you control freaks out there, that's the only way to have control, is to set something up. Set up what you want. Have it clear. I mean, somebody came in the other day and their father had, when we do a power of attorney today, it takes 15 minutes to sign a power of attorney today because there are many decisions people have to make. Because under the law now you have to initial things that are non-traditional. So traditional things are you can pay my bills, you can write my checks, you can deal with my credit card company. Non-traditional, non-fiduciary things are, can you gift my money? Can you do Medicaid planning and transfer assets to make me eligible for Medicaid? Can you do this and that are not traditionally authorized? Can you take away my rights, if you will? Can you do stuff with my money that is not something that's normal, although it may be preferred? I mean, I want my wife to be able to do whatever it takes if I'm sick to protect herself economically. Most people do, but some don't. And I had somebody in, his father's power of attorney, and he wanted to do Medicaid planning. And I said, well, he specifically did not want that done. His goal, because we have people write no if they don't want it, his goal was that he did not want anybody to be able to preserve assets by putting them on Medicaid. I believe it's because he never wanted to go to a nursing home, and he wasn't dealing with the fact that some people must because there's no other appropriate, safe environment for them. But you're not authorized to do Medicaid planning, so you're going to have to spend your father's money on his care. And if it's going to be in a nursing home, so be it. But your father didn't want Medicaid planning. And that was a conscious decision. And I got such a look of disbelief on the child's face. And I said, well, that was his choice. So we can't just, when we do a power of attorney now, we can't just say, okay, this is they can do whatever the hell they want, sign here. You got to really go through some steps with some decisions.
Well, maybe this is a good time to talk about your seminar. So the free senior survival workshops, you can hear about new tax laws, new Medicaid laws, and all the things we're talking about now. Joseph S. Karp's an elder law attorney. He is, as far as I'm concerned, the best probably in the world. And you can go mark these down on on the piece of paper that you're going to probably lose. So don't put it on a Post-it note. Put it in a little book. First one, Tuesday, August the 15th, 1:30 to 4 at the Palm Beach Gardens Marriott. Then Wednesday, August 16th, from 1:30 to 4, the Courtyard by Marriott, Boynton Beach. Then Thursday, August 17th, from 1:30 to 4, Port St. Lucie Holiday Inn. You do not need reservations, but if you want to call their office for any other reason, the number is 1-800-893-9911. You can go on their website, which is one of the best websites. So much information on there. It's a terrific website. The website is KARPLAW. That's KARP for KARP, KARPlaw.com. So, Joe, I was thinking if someone wanted to come to more than just the one seminar, they wanted to come to a couple because they didn't get it all, or they want to bring friends.
Absolutely. I have a standard line, which I will use in Boynton, in Palm Beach Gardens on Tuesday the 15th. I say, if you want to hear this again, you're not allowed to tape record it, but you can come tomorrow, Wednesday, August 16th. We'll be in Boynton Beach. You're going to get stale jokes, but fresh cookies.
Didn't know you're serving cookies now.
We have cookies and coffee.
Okay.
But nothing else. This ain't a meal. We're feeding knowledge. I want to add something else because this is really important. Anybody can call themselves an elder law attorney. And I had predicted years ago when I started doing this that everybody would swear they practice elder law in 10 years. 20 years ago, I said within 10 years, everybody who writes a will swear they practice elder law. They will say, elder law attorney in estate planning. I am, and Jenny Bernstein in my office, 2 lawyers in our office are board-certified elder law attorneys. That gives us the credential of expertise that you want from a professional when you're dealing with sophisticated technical matters. Just like you want your doctor, your surgeon, or your ophthalmologist or whomever to be board certified, you need that expertise because somebody who was successful one time, you need to have a level of comfort that they know what they're doing. And as I spoke yesterday, I did three workshops this week for social workers. And what we impressed upon them is that sometimes lawyers who get people Medicaid eligible are not doing them a favor, not because of the quality of care, but because the economic decisions that were made to make somebody eligible were far more negative than the benefits of the Medicaid. They have tied up money, cashed in 401ks, done things that are inappropriate. So we sit and evaluate not only whether somebody can do Medicaid, but whether they should do Medicaid planning. And with estate planning, there's similar issues. What should you be addressing? What can you do? What can't you do? Why there are negatives attached to some of the decision making that you make, and what will impact on your families. The years of experience that we have, I mean, in my firm, 3 of our lawyers are with me 12 years or longer, besides myself, and we have other experienced lawyers and one younger lawyer who's been with me all his life, my son Jonathan. But together we work as a team to help our clients achieve their goal. And sometimes people don't know their goal. I want to get Medicaid for my father. And the answer is no, you don't. You want to get your father the best quality of care for the least expense. That's what you really want, right?
Yeah, so you're just saying it differently. They want what you...
No, because sometimes Medicaid is not the best way. If you're cashing in a 401k with $400,000 and paying an income tax of 30% for somebody who's going to live 6 months, that was a bad decision.
Yes.
So you have to evaluate all of it. So we do a lot of, and we go over our clients' estate planning to make sure it says what it's supposed to. The number of people whose documents, a lady came in yesterday. She said her father couldn't make it. He has a will from Pennsylvania, and his documents were from Pennsylvania. She said, are these Pennsylvania documents any good in Florida? And the will, I said, this will isn't any good anywhere. I said, who's supposed to get his money? You tell me when you read this will. And I showed her. He had 3 kids. He only mentioned one of them and said, I then He said it didn't say he has 3 kids. The will said, I have a daughter, I'll make up the name, Susie. I wish to leave my money to my children. Well, he had 3 kids, and she didn't even know if he was cutting out the siblings. And this was done by a lawyer. So if we can assist you, if you're an appropriate person, you get a free consultation with us to review your estate planning documents. So it's worth coming for that and learning the laws and things that you can and can't do or should or shouldn't be doing for estate planning, VA benefits, Medicaid planning. I don't do all of the seminars, and by the way, for those of you who are listening, we will not be doing seminars again until October. So if you're saying, well, I'll catch the next one, I hear Joe, he usually does it every month. And the October seminars, all the St. Lucie seminars are always done by Attorney Jenny Bernstein, and some of the others are. And the October seminars will be done by her. And she does them really well. Everybody loves coming to her seminars because she's cuter than I am and perkier and smart and young. And
Now, Joe. Now, come on. You're looking for compliments? Men, listen, women like you.
I'm not knocking me.
No, wait a minute. Wait a minute. Women want to see you. You are so cute. They don't want to see Jenny.
Yeah, but the only way they can get their husbands to show up is not to have...
Okay.
is to have somebody who's bright-eyed, young, and cute, and attractive. So the women can come for me, but I can be eye candy, and she can be eye candy. But she's good.
Smart.
And I will not be around for the October seminars. I'm going to be on vacation.
Oh, my goodness. Do we tell everybody where you're going, or should we keep that a secret?
It's not a secret. If they want to follow me, they can.
It's fantastic. I love that you and your gorgeous wife, Debbie, do this. Well, you tell them. I mean, I know,
we're going to go to Iceland this year.
Iceland, of course, in the summer. That sounds so good. But what's the weather like there? Do you know when you go? Oh, my God.
You know what? I am a yes, dear kind of guy. The weather will be cool, but it will be beautiful. We'll get to see the northern lights, hopefully. We'll get to see some pristine environment.
Well, it's still there.
And more importantly, I'll get to spend some time alone with my wife without the office phone ringing and without the hustle-bustle of the day-to-day responsibilities that we have. So I get to spend time with my wife, which is always delightful. I married her because I wanted to be with her, so it's a good chance to be together.
So sweet. This is such a sweet show.
I'm just full of...
Yeah, you are. Well, you are. See, but it's the humanity. When I describe you to people, when I know someone needs an elder law attorney, besides telling them that you're brilliant, I tell them that you're such a kind, humane person. And that's not exactly what people think about when they talk about lawyers. You know that.
I understand that. So it's a good thing that it's... a friend of mine has a standard joke about lawyers. He says he's a very nice guy and he's a good lawyer and he's a caring individual. And he said, you know, that other 99% gives us 1% a bad reputation.
Right. Well, let me tell you something that I can tell about people, because I talk to a lot of people and I can tell about their attitudes. And I know when people are good human beings like you, that I blame their mother. When you've had a great mother and there's been a lot of love that falls on that child, because there are many successful people who have this chip on their shoulder. And I'll always say, well, you know, what were your parents like? Oh, my mother was this or my father was that. And you can tell. It just never leaves them. Do you get this into law, too? Do you see this when you're talking with people as a lawyer?
When I'm talking to people, it depends upon who I'm talking with that I'll get that sense. It's very interesting. When I'm talking to a client who's coming in about themselves, generally we're not going into who their parents were or their parental relationship unless they're involved still in some sort of caring for their parent or their parents are still around. So you don't get that much. If a 70-year-old client comes in, occasionally they'll be talking about their mother or their father because they're still around and they'll tell you what they're dealing with. Obviously, though, when I'm dealing with children who are coming in with parents with problems, you get to hear who their parents were.
Yeah.
And you can sort of sense, and sometimes you get some total honesty. They'll say, my dad was not an easy guy to get along with. He was always cranky. But the kids have a sense of responsibility that they were still taught in the home.
I don't want to be cranky, but I'm getting the signal that we got to crank this up. So I thank you so much, Joe. It's been a great show. And will we talk to you next month, though, before you go?
Okay.
Okay. Thanks so much, Joe.
Everybody.
All right. Bye.